Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Obsy. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. So in today's video, I actually wanted to film this video on the couch just to give that relaxed vibe, but yeah, I think this is better. Anyways, so today we're going to be talking about dupes. The reason why I decided to talk about this thing on this channel is because it's very controversial in a way. People have different opinions about dupes. Let's start from the definition of a dupe. A dupe is supposed to be a short term for duplicate, right? I don't know the actual dictionary meaning, but I'm going to insert it on the screen. But it's basically a cheaper version of an original, a cheaper, alternative to an original piece of clothing, fragrance, whatsoever. We talk about clothes and shoes and we mention dupes, but I think I've heard it more in the fragrance community than in like the fashion world, but it does mean the same thing. So I decided to talk about this thing because I did see something on Twitter. I don't know if I'll be able to find the tweet to this topic, what even prompted me to film this video. I saw something on Twitter, and if you know the brand Hanifa, it's a black owned brand and her pieces are to die for. Like, she literally has gorgeous, amazing pieces, obviously on a higher price point. Yeah, she knows her target audience, but her pieces are literally amazing, good quality. I haven't actually come in contact with one, but I have seen a couple of people, a few of my friends actually own a piece, and if I have the money, I'll buy. Because right now I think I have a thing for black owned brands. I have a thing for especially Nigerian brands. I just feel like they're very, very creative and very innovative. I would rather rock my Nigerian brands than any other brand, in my opinion. But yeah, so it happens that Fashionnova came out with a dupe of a particular outfit from Hanifa. Now, we don't know if they were inspired by it, because usually some of these brands will say they were inspired, like it's not a dupe, it's not a total copy, it's just an inspiration, which we'll get into that. I think what really struck me with that post is the person that posted that tweet had an unpopular opinion about fashion dupes, for lack of a better word. You know how we say other brands that copy all these well-known brands and designs, it's more or less like theft. It's basically stealing another person's design and it's unfair to the owner. It's basically stealing. Like, it's not good to steal. It's a different thing if you're trying to be inspired and then you give credit to the original designer, but like when you come out with your own that is very, very similar to the original, like same color palette, same design, just a few tweaks here and there, but literally same fabric, it doesn't get more theft than that. Do you understand? But the unpopular opinion was that not everybody can afford the original, so why shouldn't there be an alternative for people that cannot afford the original? The Hanifa piece is, I think, about $400, while the Fashionnova piece is about $40. Huge price difference. That is the unpopular opinion. Like, not everybody can afford that, so why is it a problem when there's an alternative, a cheaper alternative to people that would like to wear outfits like that or would like to wear pieces like that, but basically in their price range? Well, that makes sense, because I don't know, I'm a bit torn. I just feel if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Like, there's really no point stealing someone else's design. But then it happens every day. We see Zara come out with like different dupes of Bottega Veneta bags or shoes. We see dupes of Chanel pieces. I feel like in the fashion industry, I might be wrong, but I feel like in the fashion industry, it's just about replicating different designs, according to what is trending, and like bringing like the old school days and just remodernizing it and making it modern day fashion. I just feel like they're just recycling designs. That's why I like Nigerian brands, because I see them actually come out with very innovative pieces. That is for the fashion world. So now, while we frown on fashion brands stealing other fashion designer pieces or designs, what about the fragrance industry? I mean, we know that dupes is like a lifesaver in the fragrance industry, knowing fully well that perfume is very expensive, and if perfume is your hobby, it's a very expensive hobby because these things are not cheap. While we have the cheaper version, which supposedly are the dupes, most of them are the dupes for this original, but we also have like original perfumes that are not that pricey, that are not expensive. But when you're talking about dupes of, let's say for instance, Ombre Nomad from LV, the dupes are obviously cheaper. Why do we not frown on that? That's my first question. Why do we not frown on dupes in fragrances, knowing fully well that you're trying to replicate the art of another person? It's a different thing if the same perfumer that made the original, expensive fragrance makes a cheaper version just for people that cannot afford the original. Some people actually build their businesses around dupes. They basically specialize on creating dupes. I mean, they are filling the gap, to be honest, because there should be an alternative for everybody. Everybody wants to smell good. If I want to wear African leather from Mimo Paris, if I cannot afford it, we should be able to smell something similar, at least in a cheaper version. I mean, they are filling the gap and there's money in the dupe, the fragrance dupe industry. But isn't that still theft in its sense? Because if we actually frown upon it in the fashion world, why don't we frown on it in fragrance world? I'm not saying I'm above dupes, of course not, but I just always pay homage to the original fragrance. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some original niche fragrances that are actually replicates of other perfumes. Say for instance, Bodesia the Victorious Blue Sapphire, which is an amazing scent. A lot of people rave about that fragrance. And then we also have Elictimos Oster, if that's what's called. People also rave about that as well, but they smell very, very similar. Now, I don't know which one came first. I want to assume that Blue Sapphire came out first, but they smell very similar, only that Oster probably has a more refined vibe. It's a little bit different. I don't believe it's as strong as Blue Sapphire. There are people that would also gravitate towards Oster from Elictimos London. Ultimately, they smell the same way. They have the same DNA. The dry down is almost the same thing. Is that a dupe? Now, another question is, are dupes supposed to be expensive? Or if it's expensive, it's no longer a dupe? That's another question I will usually ask. My own take to that particular question is, whatever is cheap is very relative and subjective. What is expensive for person A might not be expensive for person B. So if I was in Beyonce's class, obviously these perfumes will not be these perfumes will be chicken change to me. So if I find a cheaper alternative to a fragrance as expensive as the Roja fragrances, for instance, some of them are almost £1,000 or $1,000, and there's probably another fragrance that smells like that, instead of 1,000 it's 500. Now, $500 is still expensive, but for somebody of Beyonce's class, $500 is a steal. You're getting a bargain for a perfume that will cost $1,000, and then it smells the same way. You get a perfume that smells like that just for $500. Obviously, that is a bargain. I don't think there are rules where like perfume should not cross a certain price point when it comes to dupes. But ultimately, yeah, if you're trying to replicate somebody else's craft, you might as well make it cheaper because it's not original, right? What do you think about this topic? Are dupes supposed to be cheaper, or is okay for it to be $100, $200? Is that still called or regarded as a dupe? Aren't dupes supposed to be frowned upon in the fragrance industry just the same way they are frowned upon in the fashion industry? I mean, even these big houses, right? Most of them actually still might not exactly be the design, but it's definitely like the fabric pattern. I don't know which brand was actually retailing Ghana Must Go pattern, like, you know, those bags. I'm going to insert a clip on the screen. Those bags that we use in Nigeria, actual sack bags, they were retailing it for a huge, ridiculous amount and price. Isn't that an insult to where it is originated from? It's like seeing your Ankara fabric in LV store and it is retailed for $5,000. Obviously, it's going to be retailed for $5,000 because of the brand name, but ultimately it is also a slap to the owner of that fabric or where it is brought from, just taking our product or taking our items and claiming it as yours and slapping a very huge price tag on it. I think it's disrespectful, in my opinion. So in that same light, wouldn't we regard fragrance dupes to be disrespectful to like the original? Like, if I actually came out with a fragrance, actually, let's make it personal. I think the moment we make it personal, we'll be able to empathize or probably even have a personal experience, sort of, to be able to know how I would feel about such a situation. If I actually made a fragrance today and I priced it at maybe $250, and in a few months time another brand, usually it's the Arab brands, they come out with maybe a different fragrance that smells just like mine, definitely a dupe to mine, and is retailed for, let's say, $50 thereabouts, would I be angry? Would I be annoyed? Would I feel some type of way about it? I think so. I can't even lie, I think I'll feel some type of way about it, because that's literally my blood, sweat and tears, and that's why it is retailed at that particular price. While I do understand that these two perfumes would have different target audience, I completely understand it, I still would feel some type of way, because that is my work. Only and only if the brand would give credit, like, okay, this fragrance is inspired by so and so. I know that there are some fragrance brands that do that. I think Bilayad also does that. They have their originals, but they also make dupes of fragrances, and most of the time they will tell you, oh, this is inspired by Black Opium, this is inspired by Delina. I respect that, because you are giving credit to the original fragrance. It's only that you are trying to focus on a different target audience or target market that cannot afford Delina but will be able to afford a $50 fragrance. So I feel like in terms of duping different fragrances or clothing or whatever, it should be credited. That's the least you can do. If you're going to take someone's work, if you're going to take someone's, art, you might as well credit the original, maker and creator of this artwork, because it's only right that you show respect. But just outrightly taking someone's design, like, see some dupe houses, they copy the whole bottle style, the same colors, like it literally looks the same, so that you actually think it's the same fragrance. Like, come on, like, be original, at least do something different, and then just call it, okay, it is inspired by so and so. Like, it just makes sense. But actually stealing the whole thing, it just screams laziness in my opinion, and it's completely unfair to whoever is the original creator of whatever designs, art or pieces that you come up with. So yeah, that's my take, and I just really wanted to talk about this thing, and also would like to hear your thoughts. It's a bit blurry in my head, because that post that I saw on Twitter, it really spoke to me, because I never thought about it that way. It never crossed my mind that actually there are dupes in fashion world, and we are angry about it, we don't like it, we condemn it, some of them go to court, they sue and whatsoever. But in the fragrance world, it's like, it's very much accepted. While I completely understand why it's accepted, but it's like, isn't it the same thing? Why are we not, calling these people out? Or why are we not speaking about these things? And also the price points. Yeah, I really would like to know your thoughts in the comment section. So please, if you watch this video, let me know what you think. And yeah, once again, thank you guys for tuning to this video. If you are new to my channel, please do not leave without hitting the subscribe button, like this video, and of course share it to your friends and your loved ones. And I'm going to see you in my next one. Bye guys.